Behead a man and he dies. No one has ever questioned this. But it rests on a premise we have never once spoken aloud. We simply assume the self lives in the head. Sever the head, and command is severed. Life, too, is over. Yet this premise is no law of the universe. The sea already holds creatures that break it. An octopus keeps more than half its nerve cells, not in the brain, but in its arms. Sever an arm, and it will still reach out and grab things on its own. So what if there were a body whose sense of self did not dwell in the head, but was spread across the whole frame? Beheaded, and would you kill nothing but a face? Over 2,000 years ago, someone recorded just such a body. The Heavenly Emperor won that battle, only to find he had failed to kill his foe. This body is recorded in the Shanhai Jing, the classic of mountains and seas, in its chapter on the western lands beyond the sea. In those days, the gods warred fiercely among themselves. The warrior called Xing Tian was known to all, not because he was the strongest, but because no one wished to face him. Those who had crossed blades with him came back unable to say what it felt like. You strike from the front, he blocks. You circle to the flank, he blocks again. Someone struck at his back in the chaos. The axe blade nearly grazed his spine, yet he parried with a backhand sweep, fast and precise, as if he had eyes in his back. In a fight, he never looked at anyone, never made a sound. His eyes never tracked the weapon of his foe. Yet the instant a weapon moved, he moved first. Another tale spread through the ranks. The night sentries passing his tent would see him fast asleep, his fingers flexing and curling upon the blanket, running through the very moves of the daytime drills, one form after another, to the end, then from the top once more. There was one more thing that only those who served long beside him ever noticed. He never guarded his head. Other men, going into battle, would first cinch their helmets tight, shielding the skull. And that shield of his stayed forever braced across chest and belly, letting blades whistle past his ears. People warned him. He offered no explanation. The Heavenly Emperor tried to kill him, fought for a long time, could not do it. Now the Heavenly Emperor kept a scribe beside him, ordered to record every single clash. In time, the scribe wrote down a single line on a bamboo slip, a line that unsettled even himself. That autumn, a heavy hammer came down on the head of Xing Tian, and he dropped on the spot, out cold. But he did not fall. He stood rooted, the axe rising and falling as before. Stroke after stroke, he drove back the two men who rushed him. When he came to, they asked him how he had managed those blows. He drew a blank. He could not say. The scribe reported the matter to the Heavenly Emperor. The Emperor read it for a long while, then put a single question.
While he lay senseless, who was it that swung the axe?
No one in the hall could answer. From that day on, the Heavenly Emperor changed his whole approach. He no longer fought to win. He hunted for one thing only, an opening. That battle was joined at the foot of Mount Changyang. Heavenly Emperor sent 3 men in first. They were not sent to win. The 3 threw themselves at him in turn, all to draw the axe of Xing Tian to the right. When the 3rd man fell, the axe tip of Xing Tian was resting upon his chest. The blade of the Heavenly Emperor came from the left. One cut. The head tumbled into the grass, rolled a few times, and went still. Then came a long, long silence. Every man at the foot of the mountain waited for the body to topple. A man beheaded will fall. That was the surest fact beneath heaven. The body did not fall. It stood where it was. The stump still bled. The chest still rose and fell. It was still breathing. The shield still braced across chest and belly, the axe still gripped in the right hand. Not an inch of give. The first to move was the Heavenly Emperor. He took a step back and spoke.
Take the head away.
Someone asked for orders.
Burn it?
The Heavenly Emperor gazed toward Mount Hangyao and said only,
No need. Bury it. Carry it to Mount Changyang. Dig the pit so deep that no daylight ever reaches the bottom.
The pit took a whole day to dig. When the convoy carrying the head set out, every man below the mountain saw the same thing. The headless body turned slowly, following the convoy. It did not give chase, it only turned its body, the axe tip pointing, all the while, toward the head. The convoy rounded the foot of the mountain and was gone. The body still faced that way. The Heavenly Emperor left men to watch below the mountain with a single order: watch, do not touch. For the first 2 days, the body just stood there bolt upright. No one dared approach. They kept their distance, 100 paces off. On the third morning, someone caught an odd sound, faint, like cloth slowly tearing. They saw that 2 spots on the chest of the body had split open, right down the middle. The split stopped halfway, freezing into 2 horizontal slits, and inside the slits, something was moving. One man screwed up his courage, stepped closer, then backed away again. Afterwards, he would say only one thing.
Those 2 spots, they follow you. I step left, they turn left. I step right, they turn right.
By afternoon, the navel had opened too, opening and closing, like a thing drawing breath, or trying to say something, but there was no sound. Toward dusk on the third day, it moved. First it raised the shield in its left hand to the chest, steadying itself. Then the axe in its right hand swept up from below. One diagonal strike, pulled back, a horizontal sweep, then rising once more. Among the watchers 100 paces off, a few recognized the forms at once. They were the drills of Xing Tian to the very letter. The first form, the second form, the third, not one mistake. The order never breaking. The very set he had drilled all his life. It finished the whole set, paused for one breath, then, from the first form, it began again. That night, not a soul below the mountain dared to sleep. The moon swung past the ridgeline. The wind pressed the grass flat, then lifted it again, and it kept on fighting, the axe blade cleaving empty air, sending gust after gust of wind before it. No enemy, and no one to call a halt. A few days on, the Heavenly Emperor sent a man to ask,
Has it stopped?
Not yet.
The men on watch changed, shift after shift. After a while, someone said it no longer looked like a battle from a distance. The rising and falling, the advancing and retreating, looked more like a dance. And there the story ends. But a few of the details recorded in it are genuinely strange. First, he never guarded his head. Other men cinched their helmets tight before a fight. He refused spending a lifetime shielding only chest and belly. Knocked senseless, the body kept swinging the axe anyway. That head was like a bolted-on part. Second, the pit. Why did the Heavenly Emperor insist on burying the head of Xing Tian in a deep pit? The head had left the body, yet the axe tip kept tracking it, which means the two were still linked somehow. Fire can burn away flesh and blood, but it may not burn through a link like this. The pit, dug beyond the reach of daylight, used the rock and earth of a whole mountain to sever the connection. Third, why he could not stop. The vital points of any machine have backups when the main unit fails. The backup kicks in. This is called redundancy. Once the head went into the earth, the link was cut and the backup came online. Could those two slits that opened on the third day have been the sign of the backup booting up? The routines lived in the limbs, not in the command center. With no order to halt, It simply ran from the first form, looping to the end. It was most likely not a dance. It was a program no one knew how to stop. Look back at the battle below Mount Changyang. On one side, a warrior who would not fall even without a head. On the other, a heavenly emperor who saw the weak point at a glance and knew how to seal it away. The so-called war for the throne of heaven may well have been a duel of prehistoric, high-end hardware. The victor walked off with the core component. The defeated was left in place, executing the last command it ever received on an infinite loop, forever. Subscribe to Young Decodes for more untold legends.